Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. I have very exciting news today, but on that just in a second, so bear with me. For today, I was thinking we could be painting this beautiful, well, quite easy starry night with moon changes, and I've decided to paint it from the full moon to the youngest moon. And well, I hope you will like it. It's quite easy and fun. I wasn't thinking to make a masterpiece again. This is just something fun to do and to try paint moon in different phases. And now back to those exciting news. Skillshare is sponsoring this video and I have something to share. But first, Skillshare is an online learning community where you can explore thousands of classes in design, photography, business, of course art, and so much more, and with annual fee of less than $10 a month. Nowadays, more than ever, when we're staying at home and we have more time to advance in our skills or learn maybe some new ones that we wanted to learn but never had the opportunity to do or never had the time to do. So I think this is just the perfect time to join Skillshare, even if you're just looking for some fun ideas and fun projects to do for yourself or your family. I myself want to tackle digital art for quite some time now. So I am taking up some digital painting and design courses on Skillshare together with some sketching classes. So guys, I'm happy to tell you that Skillshare is giving 2 months free Skillshare premium membership, meaning access to all, and I mean all the classes, to first 500 people who sign up for it using this link I've put down in the description box for you. So guys, isn't that exciting? Only thing I would add to that is don't miss this great opportunity to learn at your own pace and in your own time by taking up classes from some amazing and inspiring teachers. So just treat yourself with 2 months of free Skillshare, and all you need to do is follow the link and sign up for it. Now back to our painting. And first I pre-wet the entire paper, and after that I'm using indigo in quite amount, quite saturated, to paint in the left side and going on a upper right corner. Then I'm using Prussian blue that I mixed a little bit with sepia, because sepia is just a perfect color to tone down your color. Add that grayish tone and just slightly tone it down. So I've used sepia and painted in the middle part, and then added a little bit of Mother Lake Red Light to paint in the lower right corner, where there will also be the lightest part of my sky. Next thing I'm doing is using just a clean water and sprinkling all around the paint, because that clean water will pick up slightly that pigment and leave white of the paper peeking through. And when we do our second layer, that white of the paper will slightly peek through underneath it. For the second layer, I did not pre-wet my paper, but I'm painting on a dry paper and I'm using quite amount of pigment. The reason why I did not pre-wet the paper before painting the second layer is because I didn't want to dilute my paint twice. Once when I put it on my palette and mix it with water, and then later on when I put it on my paper that is pre-wetted before, and again mixing it with water. I do want my colors to be quite saturated and I don't really want to do like 10 layers. So that is the reason why I did not pre-wet the second layer. The reason why I did pre-wet the first layer is because it is quite hard to work on a dry paper and just do it in a way that you don't have the markings from your paper drying, because when you put your paint on a dry paper, it will of course dry faster than when you put it on a wet paper. So for the first layer, I do want to have a little bit more time, working time with my paint, with my paper. And for the second layer, where there is already some background and there is already some paint on the paper, it is quite easier to avoid those lines. And Well, even though if you do not work so fast, and even though if it does leave some markings, it won't be so harsh as would be on the first layer. Now I'm using an old flat, pretty stiff brush to sprinkle in some stars, and I find this brush to be just perfect for adding just billions, gazillions of little small stars. And you know, if you don't want those sort of stars, if you don't want your galaxy to look as though it has so many little stars, you don't have to use a flat stiff brush. You can just use any brush you like for sprinkling, add a couple of stars. But if you do want to have like those little stars, a lot of them, this brush is just perfect. Just take any of your old brush that is stiff and actually not really usable for anything else but for this sprinkling. And I forgot to say, I'm using a white gouache for sprinkling some stars. And now I'm moving on to painting my moons. And I'm sorry guys, there is just one part missing because, you know, my camera stopped recording and I've lost some part of it. I lost the part where I've sketched the moons, and you know that you can easily done that in just straight line. Just take any round object. I did use some washi tapes, a little smaller washi tape, and just place it, do the circle around it 5 times, you know, just approximately same distance and in a line, in a diagonal line. And when finished, you can move on to painting it. And also for painting the moon, I was using a white gouache, quite amount for the first one, for the full moon, and just added here and there a little bit of indigo, just to add some variety to the moon. Second one, I will not paint the entire. I will paint just maybe that's 2/3. I think, something like that, 2/3. Well, just be careful not to go over your lines that you drew with your pencil that you sketched, and just to stay in those lines. You don't have to, also when you're sketching your moon, you don't have to sketch the entire circle. You know, sometimes maybe on your paper it will stay visible and you won't be painting the entire moon. Those five won't be entire moons, so just maybe that is something to keep in mind when you're sketching, not to sketch it all the way, all the circle, but just the part you're gonna paint in. And well, as I said, second one is something like 2/3, and I'm just adding the white gouache and then rinsing my brush and smudging it a bit on the part where the moon is not visible anymore, on that part of the circle, the ball that is not visible, just to make it a little bit more believable. I don't want a harsh line, just that I wanted to smudge it a little bit and to leave it though as there is just this part of the moon visible and this part of the moon not visible. Third one, I'm painting it half part of it, and I'm painting it in the same way as I did paint the second one. First I'm following the outer line on the part that is visible, that is not in a shadow, and then going inwards to the part that will be in shadow. I'm rinsing then my brush and just smudging that part where the moon is not visible anymore. As I said, it just gives it a little bit more believability. After that, I'm adding just a little bit of indigo to make the variety on the moon. And you know that the moon is not same color all the way, so I'm just adding those little bit of textures and a little bit of that darker parts. And you know what? This third moon actually just I couldn't make peace with it. I was just going back and forward, and I could just never be happy with it. So I did do a couple of times. I did add a little bit of white gouache, then a little bit of indigo, then again a little bit of white gouache, and then again a little bit of indigo. It just didn't look the way I wanted it. So I did go back and forth a few times. I will go back to it again later when I paint the fourth moon changes, but just there was something about that third moon that was bugging me. So I'm moving on to the fourth moon, this one even smaller, and I would say this one I painted like 1/3 maybe of the moon, and again in the same way paint the edge and then smudge it a little bit with brush I rinsed, and then again added a little bit of indigo. Also, I did not mention all the materials I am using in this video for this painting are listed down in the description box, so of course you can go ahead and check it out. Also, you can find there and the materials and the supplies I usually use, not maybe just for this video, but almost all the supplies I am ever using when painting with watercolors. So if you're interested in some other supplies, maybe you've seen and in some of my videos or in this video that I did not mention, well, just go ahead and try to find it down in the description box. I think I've put it all there, but if you have any questions and about some supplies and maybe need some recommendations, please just go ahead, leave a comment, and I will answer as soon as I can. Now moving on to the last moon change. This one is so thin, quite young moon and practically a line. But again, I did it in the same way. I did paint the edge, smudge it a little bit, and then added again a little bit of indigo. When I finished with my painting, I was just looking at it and thinking, maybe I could have done a little bit different composition. So guys, I just want to say, maybe you don't like this composition, maybe you like to place your moons differently, maybe to paint all of them, all the moon changes, but differently. I was thinking I could have maybe placed the full moon in the middle and then just all the others around it in a circle. Or maybe I could have painted the full moon a little bit bigger and just going to the smaller ones, to paint in that youngest moon, the smallest also. There's just so many ideas, maybe, from up to down, maybe in a some sort of a pyramid or whatever. And well, that was just came to my mind that I didn't have to do this in the line, in diagonal line, but if you like this way, you can paint it that way. If you want to change your composition, that is also fine. You can just do whatever you like and whatever you feel like. Now that the paint completely dried, when white gouache dries, it does become a little bit darker, especially when it does mix with a little bit with the paint that is in the background. So it got too dark for me, and I did wanted to add a little bit more of that white gouache to make it just a little bit lighter. So now I'm adding a little bit of white gouache to all of my moons. Later on, I will use a white gel pen to add just a little thin line on the edges of my moons. Yes, before that I've sprinkled a little bit more stars, but this time a little bit bigger ones, and I used a smaller round brush for that. And as I was saying, I wanted to add just that lightest part on my moons on the bottom part of it, so I've used a white gel pen to add those white lines. Sure, if you do not have a white gel pen, you can just use any white marker or maybe white color pencil. And if you don't have none of those, also just use the white gouache, but this time use it straight from the tube. Don't dilute it with water, just use it straight from the tube and it will stay quite white. And with that, I'll be finishing off this painting and of course this video. Thank you guys a lot for watching, for supporting me. And if you do like this video, please hit the like button, share it, comment. And if you haven't still, please subscribe to my channel. It would really mean a lot to me. And without further ado, I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!